Welcome to this demonstration of Project Resource Estimating and Planning, also known as PREP. In this video, we'll be emphasizing the planning and scheduling aspects of PREP. We've set this up to be a continuation of the demo video that focuses on the estimating functions of PREP. If you haven't viewed that video, you may want to start there. For an overview of PREP's functions, please see the short video titled An Introduction to PREP. Come in.
Hey Rick, do you have time to schedule that video conference room that the phone company wants us to build in Building 42? Yesterday you showed me how to use the estimate we previously put together with PREP and automatically set up the budgets once we were awarded the job. But now I'd like to see how you're going to use PREP to actually schedule those folks.
Yeah, come on in and grab a seat. As a matter of fact, I was just working on the other video conference room, SK440 in here. What we want to do is go into resource schedule entry, which I could go into from the menu, but since I'm already in here, I'll just right click on SK441 and go to resource schedule entry. That loads that particular screen.
By opening this, are we somehow going to be able to take advantage of that estimate that we put together before?
Absolutely. That's what we'll do here. Is I'm going to go in here. Notice that this screen looks similar to the estimating screen. Came in with the planning stages and detailed estimate. All I'm going to do here is switch these, just like we went from rough cut to detailed in the estimating phase. I'm going to switch this to step schedule for each one of these, which now puts us in the scheduling mode. And then for each one of these tasks, I'll just go down here and say replace from estimate. So it'll go out to the estimate and load in all that stuff that we had specified.
This seems pretty easy.
Yep, sure is. Just go each one of these and we're done. Now I'll just save this and I'll close resource schedule entry back in the schedule management and review screen. But we'll refresh this. Let me show you. I'm going to jump out here to SK441. No steps or schedules here right now, but when I refresh the selection, now this goes and reloads all the data. It's going to go reload the updated data that we just generated through resource schedule entry. And I'll jump out here and voila.
Hey, there's our schedule. That's pretty cool. That was very, very neat, Rick. Looks like you set up a view for the phone company. Is that right?
Yep. Remind me later to show you more about how powerful these user-definable views can be.
So, I remember you telling me before that red blocks, I see some of them there, will show up to indicate that there's a problem. Under Amy Rusko, I see that red block. You've highlighted now. How can I find out what's causing that particular overload?
Well, a couple of things. First, hovering over that block brings the tooltip up, and we can see some information there.
Okay, so it looks like the problem is that in addition to the 8 hours, let's see, 8 hours, yep, we just scheduled her to work on that day for the SK441. There's an additional 4 hours on something else. So it looks like that total load exceeds her capacity. She's only scheduled to work for 8 hours on a day.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But that doesn't really show me where the other 4 hours are. I'd like to know that. What if I want to reschedule her for this other commitment? I'm not sure what it is, actually.
Well, by right-clicking on the block,
I
can see where the problems are, and I can launch the scheduling workbench to correct the problem. We'll illustrate that later, though.
Okay, so how do we solve the problem? Do we make her work overtime?
Well, that's certainly one option. I could easily change her capacity for that day to 12, and the problem will go away. But Amy might not be happy about that.
True enough. So now what?
Well, let's just slide the whole task out a day.
Okay.
So I'll just go over here and we'll pick this task. And because when I select that task, it means it's going to schedule that task and all the activities under it. So I'll go out here to reschedule and make sure that I'm set for days. I'll just move it out one day, display the change, and I'll just refocus on project SK441, and we see it slid it out, and that problem has gone away.
Very, very cool. No more problem now.
Nope.
It looks like everything under that task was rescheduled, is what you said.
Right.
Could we have possibly rescheduled more than a task, or maybe even a project, or maybe even multiple projects?
Absolutely. That's what these checkboxes are all about. I could select multiple tasks under a project. I could select multiple projects. I could select actually a task under one project and a task under another. And when I go into the reschedule screen, it'll apply those actions to everything that I've selected.
Now that's pretty flexible.
Yeah, so a good example of that might be if we were out here on SK440, and if we were, once we have this underway, if we were working on this task and it were to be delayed, and we set the rest of our tasks up to not start until the first one was done, then we could just simply select the remaining tasks and push them all out.
I see. I see. Over to the right, there's that installation task.
Yeah, this one down here.
Yeah. What is that called? Which task is that called?
That one is called
Review and closeout.
Yep.
Okay. And that seems to have a gap to the installation task. Why don't
Yeah.
we slide that back a week in order to start it on the previous Monday? Can we do that?
Sure. So we want to slide this task in and have it start on that Monday. You bet. We'll just go and select that particular task. We'll go into reschedule. I'll move it in, let's say move it in a week. When I do that, we see that's going to start on Wednesday. So really I wanted a couple of days earlier than that. So I could just have typed that in right away. That'll say Monday. And now when I reschedule, go out here, we'll jump to the project. We can see that it shows up right where we wanted it.
Perfect, perfect. I noticed that there are a couple of buttons down there, one called commit and undo, that seem to get lit up there when you do the scheduling. What's that all about? Could you tell me about that for a second?
Sure. Well, effectively what we've done here when we did this schedule is kind of like a simulation. I mean, here's the effect on the schedule. If we caused any overloads as a result because there was something else scheduled, we'd show up as red blocks so we'd know before we actually committed it. Once we're happy with it, we simply click commit and it makes it a permanent part of the schedule. The undo change here, you'll notice, has a 1 on 1 by it. That means there's one level of undo, and that's what's active in the software today.
I see. Well, let's go ahead and give it a whirl and commit that change.
Okay. Now we'll just jump out here. And the change is now permanent.
Bingo. I see that project bar has moved in. It got shorter when we accelerated that last task. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's an optional setting. I like having the task and project start and end dates automatically adjusted when I schedule resources.
You know, while we're at it, Jim, the guy from the phone company in the planning department, he said that some unexpected construction is going to hold up our work on the conference room in Building 40. Can we reschedule that while we're here? I mean, I would think it'd be better to do that now than later, don't you think? And
Yeah.
that way we'll know who needs reassignment to keep them busy, as well as knowing if we need help later on.
Good idea. When did Jim say that we could resume? Did he know?
I think it was pretty exact. I think he mentioned something about the 3rd of August, if I recollect correctly.
Okay, well, let's shoot for that then.
Okay, so I think I understand that this whole rescheduling thing, especially at the project level, is going to eliminate all this need to move things around manually, and that'd be a big help. Am I right on that?
Yep, that's right. Just by picking the project here, when we reschedule, it's going to go through all of the tasks, all these resources that we have scheduled and their time frames, and schedule everything automatically. So I'll go out here and we'll push this out to the 3rd of August. Looks like we need to put that out 63 days. That puts us at Tuesday the 3rd. Jump out in the schedule. That looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and commit this. And then I tell you what, let's take a look at, there's the 3rd task out here. What I want to do is go ahead and select task 3 and bring that in week. So I'm just going to go in and we'll select a week and bring it in a week here. Display the change. And that's looking pretty good.
Wow, that's fabulous, Rick. There I see a conference room there, I see another one of those red blocks. Let's take a look at what's causing the problem.
Okay, what should I do?
Well, first, why don't you hover over the block and see what the tooltip tells us.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, looks like the conference room must be scheduled for use by another project on that day. So right click and let's find out what.
Hey, you're catching on quick, Tim.
Having all this information at our fingertips is actually fun. Hate to say it. I see that SK441 is scheduled for that day as well. If we were going to have the same team from the phone company, we could do it all at once.
Yep.
But no such luck this time. How about rescheduling, or how about scheduling SK440 for Conference Room West?
Okay, good plan. Here's what we do. I'll just go here to SK440's workbench.
Whoa, what's this, Rick? I don't think I've seen this screen before. It looks like there's a whole bunch of neat new stuff here. Can you tell me something about it?
Sure. Let me reassign the conference room first. And I'm going to just change the conference room south to conference room west. Alright, I'm going to click OK. Save my changes.
Boy, that was easy enough.
And notice that the problem went away. And then we'll just commit the change. Solve that problem. And then let's see, you said we want to go back into the workbench so we can just explore it just a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll just go back in here for the workbench.
So we're back here. That screen to the right, of course, looked like the schedule from RSE. That looks pretty familiar.
Yeah, from resource schedule entry, right.
Yeah. And over on the left, now it looks like those are resource categories?
That's what they are.
And those are all our resources in our whole company?
That's right. We've grouped all our resources by resource category.
Yeah, I recognize those names. And I suppose I heard something about this product. We can somehow search on attributes to locate people. And actually, Ralph told me that this was the area to do that in. Can you maybe show me how that might be done?
Yeah, sure. If I highlight on managers, for example, see, we can assign, we can create and define as many attributes as we want in the system, unlimited number. And then we can assign as many of those attributes to a resource as we want. Then what we'll do is when I highlight on this particular resource category and I click on attributes, what prep does is it goes in